how to declare bankruptcy. Now, as you know, there's more to it than just saying, I declare it.
I declare bankruptcy!
There's schedules. Schedules are about 10 different ways of showing your current financial situation. This is really the meat and potatoes of your bankruptcy petition. These schedules are going to be 50 or 60 pages long. This is designed to be a full and complete financial disclosure. So let's dive in. Let's talk about how to do it, how to actually declare the bankruptcy. First, we've got Schedule A. Schedule A is where you need to list your real estate. This is not just your home, but anything that could be considered an interest in real estate. This could be minerals, this could be a timeshare, this could be a rent house, but for most people, it's going to be the home that you own. Now, if you rent, you won't put anything here because this is just what real estate do you actually own? Well, you're going to need to list your address, the valuation, and you're going to want to put in the legal description too. If you don't put the legal description, the formal property records description of your home, it could create issues when you go to sell your house. So first, we got the Schedule A. Now we've got Schedule B. Schedule B is where we list every single other kind of property that you own. And the way this is set up is it's set up in the form of about 50 different specific questions. What kind of vehicles do you have? Year, make, model, mileage, valuation. Where do you bank? How much money is in each one of your bank accounts? How much cash do you have? What kind of stocks? What kind of bonds? What kind of business ownership? Farm equipment? This is very specific. It's question by question, and it includes every single kind of property that you own that isn't already listed in Schedule A. And there's even catch-all questions at the end that say, hey, if there's anything else, list it here. So don't just think about physical things like a musical instrument. Also be thinking about my right to sue somebody. That's something that you own. My right to pursue a class action. My right to receive an inheritance. Those are all property items that you're going to list in Schedule B. Schedule C is really for your lawyering. This is our exemptions. This is how we show that we're going to protect your property items. So Schedule C, we're going to be linking, describing the asset, and then putting in some bankruptcy code sections or some state law code sections to show why you get to keep that item. It's not an essay, it's just more of a listing of code sections. Schedule D is your secured debts. These are debts that attach to property items. So what we're doing here is we're again linking and we're showing, okay, I've got my home and that relates to my mortgage. Here is my mortgage company, the amount I pay, the amount that I owe, the mailing address for the mortgage company. Now, this doesn't mean that these secured debts are going to be going away or that you're losing them. This is just listing what those debts are. Now, next up in Schedule E, we have the debts that you owe the government. These are called your priority debts. Priority debts are things like the IRS, the State Tax Commission, child support. Those are usually what we see in our Schedule E. Those are usually the debts that are not going away as part of the bankruptcy. Now, Section F. This is really the best part. This is also going to be the longest section for most people. This is where you're going to list out each and every single debt that you're seeking to eliminate in your bankruptcy. And it's really important that you get these right. You need to list every single debt that you owe one by one, the name of the company, the mailing address, a rough estimate, be as accurate as you can, of how much money that you owe. And when you do all those things, that's enough to put your creditor on notice. But if you don't list all your creditors, number one, you could be breaking the law. And number two, you risk not eliminating that debt in the bankruptcy. So Schedule F, crucially important that you get this one right. Schedule G are your executory contracts. These are your leases. What we normally see here is a leased vehicle, not very common in Oklahoma, a lease to own or a rent to own home situation. This is a little bit more common in Oklahoma. This is where you're buying your house, but you don't actually own it yet. Or maybe you're doing that with a shed or a storage unit. This is a section that a lot of people don't fill out because they don't have an executory contract. That's pretty normal. Schedule H, those are your co-debtors. Really important. If you don't get these filled in correctly, we'll draw a corrective entry from the bankruptcy court. This is where you have to list out other people who share a debt with you. So imagine a cosigner on a vehicle, a cosigner on your mortgage, or if more than one of you is responsible for a loan, any other debt that you listed earlier where someone else is also liable on the debt, that person needs to be listed and you need to provide their address. Next, we get to our Schedule I. The Schedule I is your current income. Now, really importantly, it's current. We'll get to your historical income later, but your current income gets fleshed out here in Schedule I, showing for your household, not just you, but your entire household, what income are you bringing in every single month? And you're going to itemize that all the way down to the penny, and you're going to show this is my monthly income. Next and last, we have your Schedule J. This is your monthly budget. This is where you need to get into the nitty-gritty of what you're spending your money on each month. But you don't want to list your unsecured debts here, the debts you're eliminating in the bankruptcy. You're going to want to list your secured debts, your house, your car, those things that you're keeping. But you also need to list how much you're spending on food, electricity, other utilities, car, gas, maintenance, daycare, laundry. Every single other monthly expense comes here. Because at the end of Schedule J, what you're going to do is you're going to compare Schedule J, your expenses, with Schedule I, your income. Because here's what we're really trying to get at. We're trying to see, can your monthly budget afford to be making payments on these debts? If you've got hundreds or thousands of dollars lying around after you pay your bills, well, you don't need to be in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. You need to be paying your debts. But for most of my clients, that's never the situation. Most of the time, my clients list out their expenses compared to their income and realize, oh my, I don't even know how I'm surviving right now. Because the reality is that things are hard. And when you start working on your I and your J, you start realizing, wow, my monthly expenses are really tight. No wonder I feel so stretched all the time. And that's really what the court is looking at is, can you afford to pay your expenses? And I'm not talking about luxury goods. I'm talking about your regular everyday life. Because that's the people who need bankruptcy. That's the people who need to be saying, I declare bankruptcy. It's our hardworking clients who can't stretch their budget any further. And that's the biggest part, the meat and potatoes of the bankruptcy petition. It's your Schedules A through J. All right, stay tuned. We'll get into more of those side dishes for your bankruptcy petition.